is Nick the Goat Thompson, and you're listening to The Beatdown on Sherdog Radio.
Forgetting to download Beatdown? Subscribe to the podcast through iTunes. Now back with TJ and Josh on the Sherdog Radio Network.
We're back to Beatdown, Sherdog Radio Network. TJ DeSantis along with Josh Gross, and joining us now is Nick Diaz. Nick, how you been, man?
How you doing?
Good. Thank you for joining us. So you got a big fight coming up this weekend in Hawaii against Mike Ina. Talk about that in just a second. But this is really the first time we talked to you since the Gomi stuff. Congratulations on the performance against Gomi, but the commission took away the win. It's not on your record, but do you still view that fight as a win for yourself, Nick?
Well, yeah, sure. Like when I tap someone out at the gym, it's usually a tap out. I go home feeling like I tapped them out. So it doesn't feel any different to me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I had got tapped out and they had turned around and said I won, I'd have felt like shit. I'd have been pretty. I don't know. I would have said something about it even. I'd been like, I lost. You people are stupid and ignorant. But I don't know. Whatever. Rules are rules, right?
Is it still surprising to you that they actually took away the win and turned it into a no decision? I mean, is that something that still surprises you today?
You know what? They're obviously running the show here, dude. So they're gonna do what they want. They own us and they run us and they run it. And I thought this was my sport when I got into it. I was happy about that. I could just it was like freedom, my freedom. Like I was happy that I could do whatever I want and fight my way out of anything. Like I failed at this. Okay, well, I'm gonna go fight my way out. And I failed at that. So all right, well, I'm gonna go fight my way out. And then, these guys, they really put a dent in my momentum here, I was going pretty good, since I was 16 years old. I fought every 4 months, 3 months, 4 months, 3 months. And then they just, more so, disappointing on the win, they put me on suspension, and that's messed up because, that money or whatever that I would make towards, from fighting was gonna, it goes towards my family, and just my overall well-being. You know what I mean? It's not like we make a lot of money doing this, and I work hard trying to fight everybody everywhere, and I got to talk a lot of shit and back up a lot of shit just so that I can get these fights and get paid a decent amount of money, especially because they haven't got their whole. This whole organization hasn't got itself even figured out as far as I'm concerned, especially as far as them not having like a pride show right now or whatever, especially with these pride rules in a ring. I don't know what's going on with that, but I want to see some more events with the same exact pride rules and the same pride ring, because this is what makes me enthusiastic about fighting is fighting being fighting, not this fucking cage battle. They got all the best fighters in the world now fighting in a cage, with elbows. It's a big, dirty, cage fucking, battle out, It's like strongest guy wins. Look at Rampage and Rampage and Henderson the other night. It was like, I don't feel like it's a good example. They were both wrestlers, so the one that kept ending up on top one was probably going to win. But, I think that, especially for these strikers that are getting in there now, look, they keep losing, Krokop or whatever, they don't know how to work around a cage. They want to work around a box. They want to work around a ring, and they want to, practice their whole life fighting in a ring, and all of a sudden you throw them in some cage. I doubt they worked out in a cage, with some assholes before the fight. I don't have a cage at my gym. There's one in Santa Rosa. We go all the way down there, and it's a whole different type of style of fighters over there. But yeah, anyways, back to what I was saying is like, these people, they put a dent in my whole, momentum and really screwed me up, as far as I'm concerned. I could have fought somebody by now, and now here I am. I've trained harder for this fight than I've trained for any other fight ever before, especially considering I basically just pushed through, what would have been what would have been a fight 3 months ago. I just pushed through that, kept training through that, you know, and tried to give myself little resting points here and there. But you know, I've been actually going twice as hard this year than I was last year. So I don't know. We'll see how that works out. I guess, you know, I haven't fought for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sure it's probably gonna be pretty tough, just because you know, I'm sure they don't want to send us out to Hawaii and have you know, have both of their guys take an ass whooping. You know, because I'm pretty confident in my buddy Jake. You know, I'm not really that impressed with Sherdog. So, you know, I mean, I am impressed with his jiu-jitsu, but I'm not really impressed with Sherdog as far as fighter, especially compared to Shields. But
Nick,
I'm betting this guy's a lot tougher than they make him out to be, whoever this is I'm fighting.
Yeah,
and
Nick,
I think guys, like, regardless, you know, sometimes they tend to make you look a little, like, they can make you look bad, you know, like, versus, like, one of these top guys. It's like some of these top 10 fighters, you know, it's like they're the white meat, you know, or the soft meat. You got to break through the shell first to get to them, you know. And what I'm dealing with here is like a shell, you know. So you gotta fight some of these strong guys. They're good at one thing, and then you get to the easy guys who are good at all three things. Like, look at George, for instance. I'm thinking he's like really, really good at everything, right? Well, the way I see it is he's not that good at anything, because he's not very, you know, the best thing that he has is his athleticism, you know. And so I look at it like, you know, he's not that good at this, not that good at that, and not that good at the other one. He's just really, really, that athleticism fills in the rest of the blanks in those three categories that makes him, you know, one of the best fighters. And then some of these other guys that are well-rounded too, they're well-rounded, and that did them enough. At one point in time, they pushed themselves hard enough to make it to that certain point where they're at, and that puts them in that top 10 or whatever. And then a lot of these guys are only good at one thing, you know, and just a little bit good at another one, and they're the hard shell. So you got to work your way around that one thing, you know, back and forth, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, wrestling, boxing, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, boxing, jiu-jitsu, until you break them down, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They're one strong point, I think. I think that's how a lot of these fighters are really one-dimensional, and then the good ones are really like, you know, maybe they weren't a wrestler in high school, because every wrestler I meet is completely, I don't know how to say it without sounding like, you know, sound
Nick,
ridiculous.
You know,
they're somewhat brainwashed in a sense, that not consciously, you know. Just like,
Nick, you know, you're a guy that's pretty well-rounded, and you've
works and the way they move, and it's completely different. They're completely different animals.
We love having you on the show, Nick, because we have to ask one question, and you talk for 10 minutes. It's the best. Let me ask you here. You know, the last 6 months, what's been the most difficult part for you? You know, you're on suspension, you lose your win, people think you're a marijuana addict, your brother finds great success in The Ultimate Fighter, and you can't be there to support him. You know, what's been the hardest part for you during this time?
Well, just probably, I don't know, staying busy, you know. I wanted to do some more events, something, but there's nothing I can do. It's not like I can box, because the people that run the MMA are the people that run the boxing, which I don't understand, because they obviously are about one sport. Everybody who's about the one sport doesn't know anything about another sport. So I don't understand how you're trying to have, like, people run the whole, you know, situation that don't know anything about the sport. That's how I really get screwed up a lot of the time. You know, I don't mean to keep blaming people and saying everyone's oppressing me. I mean, a lot of times it's my fault too. You know, I could have done a little better. I could have fought a little harder or whatever, or whatever, you know. But I'm just saying, like, these people half the time they don't know anything about the sport. You got your judges out there, you got your people out there. What was it, you guys that told me it was a Hollywood producer that started this thing?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then now you got it run by a bunch of crooked boxing people, and that's all I hear about. I mean, I don't know anything. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not trying to sound like, you know, the guy that knows everything, because I don't know. But I think some of it needs to be said. I think more people need to come out and say things so that they get brought to the surface, regardless whether they know or what. Even if they just think, that's how I get my jiu-jitsu done. We're thinking of stuff, we're doing stuff, and then stuff gets brought to the top. You gotta search for stuff before you can become, conscious of what's really out there. You know what I mean?
Has this experience, Nick? Did this experience change you at all? I mean, has it changed your perspective, or the way that you look at people, or the way that you look at the sport? I mean, has it soured you on the sport at all?
Sure, yeah, sure. I had to come out of my hole and grow up a little bit and understand, going on in the world a little bit more. Because what I like about it is just fighting is I can just kind of live here and do my thing and fight and train and fight and let time go by, and that's just how I can live my life, And then now that I got these people basically, I feel like telling me how to live my life, you know what I mean? So if I wanted to get loaded every day or something and just train and not talk to anybody and just train and fight and and spend every second of all my time training to fight and just keeping that as my number one, passion or only thing, and then people, it doesn't work out that way. Especially if that was my idea, maybe to sit there and just train all the time and fight all the time. Now they put they put a suspension on me so I can't fight, and it's all of a sudden you're controlling everything, what the hell? And then, okay, maybe all right, well, what about Indian Reservation or somewhere that you don't need you can go fight there? Well, everybody wants to make friends with these guys now, because they're the big money. So they've taken over everything. So you can't fight anywhere, I'm like, that's ridiculous, It's you got guys fighting on the street, but I can't fight because I smoke pot or something like that,
Right.
And not to mention, for the record, right now, I think somebody needs to come out and say, I think smoking pot is good for mixed martial artists. It's a new day and age. This is the year. Fuck year is it? I don't know, because I've been training smoking pot like I should instead of paying attention to other bullshit, which I don't do. What I do is I fight. So I get on the ball and I do what I got to do. And if I need to come home and fucking crash out, I don't fucking, I don't drink a bunch of, I don't drink a shot of whatever and pop a bunch of Vicodins like everybody else. I don't see what it is about the way these people want to tell us we're mixed martial artists, right? I mean, you don't tell your musical artists how to write their music, right? I mean, if you told them that and you said, hey, no drugs for you or no alcohol for you or whatever, and you go back in time, you try to find me one musical artist that was any damn good whatsoever. Just think of one right now. I mean, you can't already. Got you right there. You should have been able to think of one in 5 seconds. You know what I mean? That was any damn good without it. I said, fuck no. There is not one person that was any good that was successful at all. If it, unless they were fucking choking to death on their own vomit. Every last one of them. They all were, So I don't know about you guys, but I like my rock stars choking on their own vomit. And, so, what's it matter anyways? I don't care if guys do steroids. I think that's way worse. You got guys out there doing steroids, and then